Let's be real. Starting out in Pro Tools can be really intimidating. Like, oh my god, I'm just not the kind of person that can figure this out kind of intimidating. Fear not. Everyone feels that way at first. In the next 25 minutes, I'm going to vanquish your fear and have you recording your very first track in Pro Tools with ease. So follow along as we cover all the essential basics, all while building an actual track. And don't worry about mastery or perfection. The best way to learn Pro Tools is to dive in and start making music. Let's do it. First things first, let's open up Pro Tools. Look at it bounce, isn't it beautiful? When this window pops up, click New and name your session New Song. Don't worry too much about the sample rate, file type, bit depth. Just make it 44.1 kilohertz, 24-bit wave files. That's good enough for almost everything. Go ahead and click Create to create your new session. Now, before we jump in, we need to tell Pro Tools what to use for sound. That's where your interface comes in. Your interface is really just a little box that connects your microphones and instruments to your computer and makes sure that the sound comes in and out cleanly. So go ahead on up to Setup, click Playback Engine. This box will pop up. And in Device Playback Engine, select your interface. Mine is already selected. It's the Universal Audio Thunderbolt. Don't get too hung up on the buffer size. Just know that you want that number to be low when you are recording, which is what we are doing today. If you go to record and there's a bunch of latency and delay, this is the first place to check. Bring the buffer size down as low as you can manage while you are recording. That is the general rule of thumb. Go ahead and click OK. You should be ready to roll now. Next up, we are going to create a tempo and a click track. The click track is what's going to keep all the tracks in your session in sync. Even big hit songs recorded in professional commercial studios use a click track 9 times out of 10. The click track is a lifesaver for beginners. Go up to Track, click Create Click Track. You'll see this track pop up here. Then scroll over to the upper right-hand corner of your session. You're going to see this window right here. It's got a lot of tempo information. If you click and hold on that number there next to tempo and drag it up and down, you'll see that the number changes. Go ahead and select a tempo for your track. I am going to make mine 95 beats per minute. To play and stop your session, you're going to use what's called the playhead. It's this gray bar with all the numbers on it, sort of towards the top of the screen. If you click anywhere on the playhead and click the spacebar, the track starts to play. You're going to hear your click track now going off at the BPM that you set. If you click the spacebar again, it's going to stop it. This is how you navigate through your session. You can also zoom in and out of your timeline by pressing the plus and minus button in the lower right-hand corner of the session. Zoom in, zoom out. Pro tip, you can also zoom in and out of your session by pressing T and R. You just have to make sure that this little box here towards the upper right-hand corner of the session, it says AZ inside of it, is turned yellow. So click that so it turns yellow, and now your keyboard focus mode is engaged, which allows you to do R and T. Think of R as in retreat and T as in take a closer look. There are a lot of keyboard shortcuts like this one that Pro Tools uses so that you can navigate things really efficiently and quickly. This is a really good one to start using right off of the bat. R and T. T, take a closer look. R, zoom out. Just make sure that your keyboard focus mode is engaged. Now it's time to create some tracks. Go up to the top of the screen there, find Track, and click New. You're going to create 2 new mono tracks. That's going to be your live instruments, your guitar and your vocal. Click this plus sign over here, and you're also going to create 2 new stereo tracks, and those are going to be instrument tracks. So 2 mono audio tracks and 2 stereo instrument tracks. The instrument tracks are going to be your virtual instruments. Go ahead and click Create. You should see them pop right up here in your session. You've got your 2 mono audio tracks on the top and your 2 instrument, virtual instrument tracks on the bottom. Let's go ahead and label these. We do that by double-clicking on the text in the track. We're going to call this one vocal. Double-click the next one. We're going to call this guitar. Double-click the next one. We'll call that the drum beat. And then double-click the next one. We're going to call that synth pad. We are keeping it really simple today, which is the best thing you can do if you are a beginner. Keep it simple and get your hands dirty as quick as possible. That's how you learn to use Pro Tools to actually make music. You can also change the color of the tracks by double-clicking the little color bar next to the name. I always like to make my vocals pink. I don't know why. My guitar I usually make brown. My drum beats I usually make red. And my synth pad, my synth instruments I usually make orange. This helps me to keep things organized visually, which is really helpful when you're navigating a session. Let's start to make some music. Today we're going to start with the drum beat. We're going to load up a virtual instrument on this track by finding the first available insert slot. The inserts, as you can see right here, are in this column, inserts A through E. So find that first slot in your drum beat track, go to multi-channel plugin, instrument, and click on Boom. This should pop up. Boom is a virtual drum machine instrument that comes with Pro Tools. With Boom loaded in the first insert of your drum beat track, go over and click on this red button beneath the name of the track. That's your record enable button. When you press it, it should start flashing. This means that the track is armed and ready to make sound. You can use an outboard MIDI controller such as this one that I use in my studio to control and play this MIDI instrument. These controllers come in all sizes and all price points. If you're serious about making music in Pro Tools or any other DAW, I highly suggest that you get one. It really does help you produce music more efficiently. If, however, you don't have an external MIDI controller, you can play this instrument with your computer keyboard. So go up to Window and click MIDI Keyboard, and this box will pop up. This is how you're going to control this virtual instrument, and you're going to do it by playing the corresponding keys on this MIDI keyboard. You may have to scroll around in this orange octave box to gain access to all the sounds. That said, usually C1 or middle C is where you want to be. Real quick, if you are enjoying this video, please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you never miss a new video. It helps this channel grow, which in turn helps others just like you. So go ahead and start messing around with your MIDI keyboard. Make some music. How fun. Let's go ahead and actually start recording something. I do this by bringing my cursor to the top of the screen and clicking the big red Record Enable button. It should start flashing, which means it's ready to go. If I press the play button right next to it, you should see it starts to record. The metronome will be playing, and you'll see that there's a waveform growing in the drum beat track, the track that we have record armed. Go ahead and play something. I'm just making sound right now. I'm just trying out the functionality of Pro Tools. You should also be hearing your click track right now, which may be distracting to you. Pro tip, if you go up to that green box where we input the BPM earlier, underneath that you're going to see an icon that looks like a metronome. You can toggle your metronome on and off by pressing this button. Go ahead and click the spacebar. That should stop your recording. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the metronome off because I want to listen back to what I recorded. You're going to have to exit out of your MIDI keyboard in order to zoom in with your R and T keys, because that MIDI keyboard overrides the R and the T. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in using either R and T or the plus and minus at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to zoom in to what I just recorded, put the playhead right there where it starts, and press the spacebar to listen back to what I just made. I mean, I think that's a hit song. We can double click on that region and press delete to get rid of it, because now we're going to record an actual musical part. I'm going to keep our metronome on for this one because we want to stay in sync. Click the big red record enable button and then go ahead and click play. 2, 3, here we go. Don't worry if the thing that you just played was sort of rhythmically janky. I'm going to show you how to quantize it so that it snaps to the grid. Go ahead and left click on the region that you just recorded, and in that menu that pops up, go to MIDI operations and click Quantize. That's going to bring up this window right here. For most quantizing, especially things that are really simple, I have found that just keeping the grid at 16th notes is just fine. I'm going to go ahead and click Apply, exit out of that box, get rid of this MIDI keyboard so that I can use my R and T function, go up to the playhead and kind of zoom in to where I started recording. Go there. Let's turn the metronome off and play it back. So metronome off, spacebar. Metronome on. So you can hear that all those notes are now quantized. They're now snapped to the grid. Get used to quantizing things. It helps you to work efficiently and get your ideas out fast. Next, we want to trim this clip and edit it down into a 4-bar loop so that it can easily be duplicated and made longer. That way I can layer other instruments on top of it. To do this, we are going to use the trim tool. In the upper left-hand side of the session, you're going to see a bunch of stuff. Don't get overwhelmed by the sheer amount of tools in Pro Tools. The most used of these tools are your trim, which is this right here. It looks like a bracket. Trim allows you to take the clip and drag it, to literally trim it, longer or shorter. Next to that, we've got the selector tool, which allows you to drag over a region and highlight it. And next to that, we've got the grabber tool. If you press that tool and come down to your region, click on the region, you can see that I can drag that. So right next to those tools, in the upper leftmost corner of the screen, you've got your edit modes. Again, don't be intimidated by these. The ones that you're going to use the most often are undoubtedly slip and grid. Go ahead and click on slip and you'll notice that the grid should disappear. With your trim tool engaged, notice how smooth you can drag that clip. Now go back and press grid and you're going to notice the grid appears, and now it's choppy. When you drag that region, it's now choppy, which means that it's snapping to subdivisions on the grid. I'm going to leave that in grid mode because I'm trying to make a track to the grid today, and I'm trying to keep the edit really clean. So I'm going to drag that with my trim tool all the way to the starting point, and I can see that the downbeat is actually right here. So I'm going to drag that out to where the downbeat is. With my grabber tool, I am going to move this entire edited region so that the start of it is at a downbeat. So I have it at bar 32. I'm going to go to the other end of that region, back up to my trim tool, and drag the clip so that it also ends at a downbeat. And if you look here at this region, you see 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 4-bar loop. That is perfectly within 4 bars. I could duplicate it now, and it will play back perfectly and allow me to layer instruments on top of it. So here's another pro tip. This is a really important keyboard shortcut to learn when you're first starting out in Pro Tools. So far we've got R and T. T, take a closer look. R, retreat. Here's another one. With your grabber tool engaged, click on the region and click Command+D. You are duplicating that 4-bar piece of music and you're making it as many bars as you want. This is really, really good to know how to do when you're first starting out, because a really good way to learn Pro Tools is to lay down a drum beat and make music on top of it. So I'm making this drum beat as long as I want by pressing Command+D. Next up, let's put a pad over our drum beat. We find the first insert slot of our synth pad track here. Click in there, multi-channel plugin, instrument, and scroll down till you find Expand 2. Expand 2 is another sound library and virtual instrument that comes with Pro Tools. Go down to your synth pad track and make sure that that red button beneath the label of the track is flashing red, so click on it. Now you're ready to make sound. Go ahead now and experiment with what sounds are inside of this library, okay? Make sure that your track is record enabled and use either your MIDI computer keyboard or use your external MIDI controller to just play around with the sounds. I am going to start using my external controller because it's easier to use. I'm just going to select a random pad. We'll try Angels. Let's see how that sounds. Very cool. Very fun. So we're going to scroll to the beginning of our playhead here. Looks like it's at bar 32. We don't really need our metronome anymore because we have a drum beat that is locked to the grid. We've got our synth pad record enabled. We've got a sound loaded up in the insert slot, and we're going to go and press the big red record button at the top of the screen and then press play, and that's going to start our track. Anything we play now on this keyboard while that's rolling is going to get recorded into the session. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Fantastic. For the fun of it, let's exercise Quantize once again. Let's left click on that region, go down to MIDI operations, click Quantize, click apply, and you'll notice that the notes within that region kind of shift. You can see them actually lock into place. Repeat the same thing we did with the drum beat. Go up to our editing tools, click on our trim tool, come down into this region. We of course want to make sure that we're in the grid editing mode and just trim that down so that the start of that region is on a downbeat. Go up, get our grabber tool, and just shift that over so that the downbeat of this region lines up with the downbeat of the drum. I can now click on that region with my grabbing tool and go Command+D, and I'm just pressing that over and over again so that I can make a really long track. Go up to the playhead, looks like bar 32, and click your spacebar. Sounding great, and I'm having a lot of fun. So at this point, I think it's good to mention volume. A huge part of working in Pro Tools is mixing the volumes of your tracks so that they sound pleasing to the ear. So the way to do that is to find your volume control, which is right here, okay? It's to the right of the name of the track. Slide past the inserts and into this part of the track. You're going to see no input, mono left and right, and below that, volume. If you click in there and drag it up and down, just like we did with the tempo, you're going to hear the volume change. Let's play the track and play with the volume. So I can turn it up, or I can turn it down, all the way off. Kind of get it where I want it to be. Let's do the same thing for the synth pad. I like that at 0. Just turn the synth pad down a little bit. This is the beginning of mixing. 90% of mixing is just this. You're turning the volume up and down, and that's how you do it. Now we're really starting to have some fun. Let's lay down some simple acoustic guitar. I've got this microphone routed into input 1 of my interface. So in order to record through this microphone, I need to make sure that Pro Tools is routed to that same input. To do that, I go to my guitar track, scroll all the way over here. Just above where the volume is, you're going to see your in and output. Make sure that the input of this track corresponds to the input of your interface. So, mic line 1, I click in here, I go interface, mic line 1. That is now ready to go. It's routed to the right place. So now I'm going to lay down some acoustic guitar, and to do that, I need to use headphones. Headphones are going to help so that my monitors don't feed back and don't introduce a bunch of bleed into the microphone. It's really important to note that if you've got your interface, in this case I've got mine, mic line 1, if I have that gained all the way up so that it captures my acoustic guitar, and then I record arm my guitar track here, and the monitors are on, it's going to feed back. And it can damage your ears, it can damage your speakers. So always consider that when you're recording live instruments. You want your monitors to be turned off once your mic becomes record armed so that you avoid damaging your ears and your speakers. Headphones are a must when you're recording with a microphone. Let me go grab my acoustic guitar. And I am now putting my headphones on because that's how I'm going to monitor my new track. So now that my monitors are off and my headphones are on, I can record arm my guitar track. You can see it starts to make some sound there. Let's go ahead and record some acoustic guitar. Record enable the whole session. Click play. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Love it. Let's duplicate it. So we select with our grabber, then we do Command+D. You can see that that is now duplicating across the entire track. Very cool. We are cooking with gas. The last thing I'm going to do to this track today is add a vocal to it. And I'm going to do that using the same microphone I used to record the guitar. So I go over to my vocal track here, this pink track labeled vocal, and I go to my input, remember, right here, and I make sure that it's in interface mic line 1, because mic line 1 is what this microphone is plugged into. Make sure my monitor is muted so I don't feed back, and I go ahead and record enable this vocal. And now we're all ready to go. We record enable and press play. I use this track here to record my voice. It's everything I wanna do. It's never easy, but I got no choice but to bring the music down to you. I think it's really cool, all right? I'm having a lot of fun. And remember, that's really the point of all of this stuff, and indeed of life. Make sure you're having fun. I think it'd be cool to mention at this point that you can also, in addition to bringing the volume up and down on your tracks, you can also move them from the left to the right speaker. And you do that by grabbing hold of this right here. It's under the volume, grabbing hold of pan, and holding it and moving it in the direction that you want it to go. So for the guitar, I'm going to move it to the left a little bit. Let's listen to that. I use this track here to record my voice. It's everything I wanna do. You can notice the guitar is now coming out of the left side of the stereo field. Very, very groovy. So now that we've successfully layered 4 tracks, let's go ahead and mess with an effect. I'm going to put some reverb on my vocal just to kind of show you what effects can do. Find your vocal, go once again to the insert slot, click plugin, and go to reverb, and click deverb. Deverb is Pro Tools stock reverb, okay? So it comes with Pro Tools. While I'm dialing in my reverb on my vocal, I'm going to use solo. You remember where the record enable button is, and you've probably noticed that there's a bunch of other buttons to the right of that button. The most notable and most used of these buttons is the S and the M button. Solo is going to solo the track. So if you listen here, press the S. Now you're only hearing the vocal. Press the M and the vocal disappears. That's your solo and mute function. As I'm dialing in the reverb for my vocal, I'm going to use the solo function. Go ahead and just mess around with what this plugin is doing until you like how it sounds. This is the beginning of using Pro Tools creatively. I use this track here to record my voice. It's everything I wanna do. It's never easy, but I got no choice but to bring the music down to you. I use this track here to record my voice. It's everything I wanna do. It's never easy, but I got no choice. Just have fun with it, okay? Move the parameters around and have fun. So I am erring on the side of subtlety with this effect. I'm not drenching it, although I could, and maybe that's what you want to do. Reverb can be very fun and very dangerous. All right, last but not least, you definitely want to save your session. And in order to do that, you just go up to File and click Save Session. Here's another hotkey, though. Get used to periodically pressing Command+S while you're working. Command+S is the keyboard shortcut to save. Just get in the habit. Every couple of minutes, just Command+S. And this ensures that you never lose any work in the unfortunate event that Pro Tools crashes, which it sometimes does. And that's it. That is the gist of how to start using Pro Tools to record music. So we just created a new session and made a full track using both virtual and real instruments, and even dabbled with a little bit of reverb. The most important thing I hope you take away from this video is this: don't get overwhelmed. Keep it simple at first and exercise the basic functions of Pro Tools by using it to make music. The quicker you can get into actually making music, the quicker your understanding will grow. Use music as a means to edge up against the limits of your understanding. You can do it, and the more you learn, the more fun you can have making music in Pro Tools. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if this video was helpful to you. And if you want to go deeper and learn more about producing music, all while supporting this channel, become a member of my Patreon today. Thank you so much for watching. Now get out there and record some music. I will see you next time.